Hello, Super Troops. It's little old me, Mr. Fire in a Hole. Today's video that I'm going to be talking about is Windows Phone and why I fell in love with Windows Phone and why I've been using Windows Phone ever since roughly, I believe, like 2009 or 2010. So the main reason why I use Windows Phone, and I have actually here, I have my first Windows Phone, which is a Samsung. I got this back in 2009. As you can see, it still works. This is operating on Windows 7.5 mobile edition. And the main reason why I switched to Windows Phone was at the time I had an iPhone 3G, and I've been with AT&T forever, and I wasn't happy with my iPhone 3G. It locked up a lot. The map app wasn't that good, and plus Apple was fighting with Google over the maps and things like that. So there was a little bit of a trend, and then also Apple was fighting with Adobe. So so the Flash, you couldn't really play Flash that well on the iPhone, on the Mac products and things like that. So so the last non-Windows phone I had was an iPhone 3G. So I decided to give the Windows mobile phone a try, and I fell in love with it. At that time, Microsoft was trying to promote Bing as their search engine, and in conjunction with Bing, they also offered Bing Maps as well. Being a furniture man in Houston, Texas, I do a lot of deliveries, and the main apps that I rely on mostly, especially for doing my deliveries and cutting across Texas, is having a good navigation app. Now in my car, I did have an OnStar, turn-by-turn directions, but originally, at one time it was $9.99 for that OnStar feature. Then it jumped up to $30 a month, and I was like, oh, it's a little out of my budget. So so I let the OnStar go, and then I started relying heavily on using the Bing Maps. Another thing that really I really enjoyed with this first round of Windows Phone was that I was really getting tired of using iTunes. The DRM that Apple used to force people, when people bought music from iTunes, you had to deal with DRM, and it made it difficult to play your music on different devices. You had to jump through hoops, and it still is difficult. So when Microsoft came out with Zoom, which is the music player that's compatible with this phone, Zoom did not have DRM, and plus it was pretty good. You could play it on different devices. So if I wanted to play it on my PC, or if I had an Android phone or a BlackBerry, I could easily do that when you purchase music through the Zoom. So those were so initially those were the main reasons why I fell in love with the Windows Phone. Over the years, I've owned 3 other Windows phones. So after this one, I had a Lumia 920, and that one had Pure View, and that was a great phone. It took great pictures, and at the time, it was had one of the best cameras on the market. It couldn't be touched. After the 920 came the Lumia 1020. I did not get a chance to get the 1020 because once again I was locked in to a contract with AT&T, and it would have cost an arm and a leg to kind of get out of that contract. So then once I was able to get out of my AT&T contract after the 2 years, the next version of Windows Phone that was available was the Lumia 1520. I immediately picked it up, and it was a great phone. It was what they called as a phablet. And it was bright red, it was beautiful, and I really enjoyed that phone. And like I said, it still continued with the tradition of Windows Phone of taking the best pictures at the time. It was productive, it was responsive, it worked very well. I was able to get a lot of things done on the go. Now, one of the major issues that people complain about with the Microsoft ecosystem is that there's not enough apps. And this is true. If you're into social media, heavily social media, especially, the only app that I would say that I miss that's not on the Windows Phone is Snapchat. But I've never used Snapchat, but a lot of my friends, or a lot of my Hooters girlfriends, they love Snapchat. But for me personally, being a power business user, I can live without Snapchat. Facebook is on the Windows Phone. Instagram is available on the Windows Phone, and so is Twitter. So those, you got those major apps there, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also available on the Windows Phone. So really, the only app that I would say that kind of be interesting that you might miss is Snapchat. But like I said, for most business users, you're not gonna miss it. And I think something that may help Microsoft catch up to Android and iPhone in the app department is with the Windows Universal Platform. Right now in Visual Studio, being a developer, I did at one time have a couple of apps in the Windows Store. And I love what Microsoft done with Visual Studio and combining their app stores. So what Microsoft did is they are coming out with universal apps where, as a developer, you write your app once, it will work not only on the Windows Phone, but it will work on the Windows desktop, and you can easily port that same code over to Android apps and iPhone for devices that work for iPhone. So it's a very exciting time for a developer, and I think Microsoft is making the right decision to lure more developers over to their platform. So that's one thing. So now that I told you how I got hooked on the Windows Phone, I'm going to tell you why I ditched my laptop and used the Windows Phone. As you can see here, my latest phone is a Microsoft Lumia 950 XL. And one of the biggest things that you could do right now is called Windows Continuum. And in this box, people ask me this all the time. When I go around campus at UIC, I have this little bag with me, and in here I keep all my goodies. So in this bag, sometimes I keep a monitor in here. I have a little mini keyboard right here and a mouse. And what all these little bitty tools do, they help me to ditch my laptop and rely strictly on my phone to be my one and only device. And and that's something that I'm really glad that I switched over to the Windows platform, because back in the day, being a web developer and being a small business owner, right now I have about 4 or 5 e-commerce websites. So back in the day, I would have to have a digital camera when I'm going out and I'm taking pictures of my furniture or things that I'm sharing. And at the time, back in the day, smartphones or in general, they didn't take very good quality. They couldn't really rival a traditional camera. That's not the case anymore. Now the phones on the cameras are so good that you really can get by without needing a separate camera, and that has been a huge boost. I really love it, especially I will say with the Windows phones. If you go to antiquesbyprestige.com, that is one of my major websites, and I'm hoping to have a full e-commerce website by the end of 2017. You'll notice that a lot of the pictures on there, the older pictures, were taken with a digital camera and not with a smartphone. But now, moving forward, I will be able to take pictures for my e-commerce website just strictly on my phone and do the video as well. And that was another thing. So I had to have one device for the to take still pictures, another for video. Now the smartphone, the new Windows Lumia 950, has eliminated 3 devices for me. It's eliminated the digital camera, the video camera, and then also the laptop. The main reason why that I got rid of my laptop was I've been with AT&T forever, as I mentioned before, and I am grandfathered in on their unlimited data plan. And traveling, sometimes living in Texas, sometimes living in Chicago, sometimes working in San Francisco and at the tree lot, having access to data has always been an issue. Right now in Chicago, at my place, I was paying about $200 a month for internet access. Then when I go down to Houston, Texas, and work with my uncle in our showroom, to be honest with you, he's too cheap to pay for the internet. So, so then I'm stuck out there. I don't have internet access. So I have to rely on my phone. Well, having a phone that's a desktop replacement saves me a considerable amount of money with paying for internet access or having to rely on the kindness of others for free internet access, which is not really free because it could be dangerous. To be honest with you, I'm very careful about the types of Wi-Fi that I connect to, so I really don't I don't connect to random Wi-Fi. It's kind of like having unprotected sex, but that's a whole nother issue right there. So being able to rely on having internet access through the AT&T network has saved me a significant amount of money, because now I don't have to go and pay for it when I'm in Texas. I don't have to go and pay for it when I'm in California working at the tree line. And in Chicago, most of the places that I go, I can get by with just using internet access, and I have safe places where I have I have access to Wi-Fi. So that was one of the major reasons why I ditched my laptop and gone strictly with the phone, because it gives me greater mobility to have internet access on the go and not have to purchase a separate plan. So today I'm going to show you how I accomplished that, and that is accomplished with using Windows Continuum. Now in this dock, I'm going to show you what I have in this dock. As you can see on the box, you have the dock, and then it has a cable. You have to, this is separate. You have to buy this separate. But then there's one other trick to using the Windows Continuum that's not so obvious, and I had to figure it out. And I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to show you what's in here. So as you can see in here, I got the dock, and then oh, you need to have your own HDMI cable as well, which I got right here. Then I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to show you here. You got the power supply for the dock, which you need, but the $1 million piece is this DVI converter. One thing that I noticed is that for a lot of the monitors that I use, especially even with HDMI, the picture would be a little off. Whenever I use this works for both new monitors and old monitors. And as you can see back here, I have a ViewSonic monitor. This monitor looks like it's about 5 or 6 years old, so it's not very new. But with this gives me the ability to connect to, even if there is, I have a couple of personally at home, I have 2 LG high definition monitors that I use at home. They work fine with just plugging the dock in with the HDMI and plugging the other end directly into the TV. But for some monitors that doesn't work well, and it's better to use the DVI out with this adapter. And this really has helped me connect to more monitors with the Windows Phone. Then also with the Windows Phone in the dock, you can have additional storage. So on your phone, you can see there's 3 USB connections here. So then if I need additional storage, or if I don't like to put a lot of things on my phone, so that's why I rely heavily on the cloud, especially with OneDrive. But then if I have files that I need to easily transfer over, from to the old-fashioned desktop, I can just go bloop, bloop, and then put them back in to the phone. And I'm going to demonstrate that a little later on in the video. Okay, so right now I'm going to take a few minutes. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to show you how the setup works with everything going, and then we'll get back to it.